Welcome to our session on how HRA Cloud empowers managers. Your organisation has chosen to partner with HR Assured to help manage the compliance of your HR processes. With HR Assured, you don't have to be an employment law expert to ensure compliance. You now have access to a telephone advisory service and HRA Cloud. This advice line provides people managers with direct access to HR Assured in relation to your day-to-day employee and safety management responsibilities and legal obligations. You can seek advice on any matter, big or small. HRA Cloud is a cloud-based software that helps you easily manage your team. You can access it through any internet-connected device using a web browser. With HRA Cloud, HR tasks and managing people will become simpler and easier. The telephone advisory service and HRA Cloud is a powerful combination. Together, they will give you peace of mind knowing you're legally compliant, your people are being looked after, and your information is secure in the cloud. If you're attending this session, you should have already attended or watched our session on introducing what HRA Cloud can do for you to cover the functionality available to you and also the navigation of HRA Cloud. You may be an account administrator for your HRA Cloud account, or you may be a management user. You could be at the start of your organization's journey with us, or you may have recently joined your organization and need to familiarize yourself with how you can utilize HRA Cloud. Your HRA Cloud account should already be set up, either completed by yourself or someone in your organization. If your HRA Cloud account isn't set up yet, you or your account administrator will need to attend or watch our 2 training sessions that cover the account setup. They're sessions 2 and 3 in this 4-part series. Through the key features currently highlighted on your screen, HRA Cloud will help to make HR simple. HRA Cloud will assist you to take control of your record-keeping obligations, access up-to-date, legally compliant HR documents, automate your HR processes and reduce the time your business spends on admin, track key dates, receive reminders through alerts and notifications, and provide a better experience at work for your employees by engaging your workforce with employee self-service. In this session, we're going to take you through how to utilize HRA Cloud on an ongoing basis. We're going to cover navigating around HRA Cloud, managing employees, which will cover what you can access on their employee record, upload a document, record a note, track training and qualifications. We'll have a look at the online performance reviews and how you can track professional development goals. We'll also look at how you can communicate with employees via email, employee self-service, and assigning tasks. We'll show you how to utilize HRA Cloud's employment law templates through checklists and documents. And we'll cover employee self-service in regards to what an employee can see and do, and how they can get access to ESS. We'll also take a brief look at work health and safety in terms of the incident and hazard management. As this is the last session in our training and setup series, you may find you already have a good knowledge of some of the functionality within HRA Cloud. So some of this session may be a recap for you. Some of the topics we're going to cover will be the same. However, the content in this session will be focusing on the ongoing use of HRA Cloud in your organization. So let's jump into the system so we can get started. This session is going to be done in an Australian demo account. For our New Zealand clients, the functionality of HRA Cloud is exactly the same across both countries. The difference sits in the content we provide within the system to meet the different legal requirements of each country. We also use different terminology across the regions. What you can personally see and do within your HRA Cloud account will depend on the security and user access roles that you have been provisioned. There may be things I cover in this session that you can't see, and if you think you should be able to, please contact the HRA Cloud administrator within your organization to update your settings. If you are the HRA Cloud administrator and you require further assistance, please contact our client support team. We covered the navigation of HRA Cloud in our introduction session, but as a quick reminder, over on the top left, up here, you will see the phone number for the HRA Advisory Service. This is a 24/7 service with extremely fast response times, staffed by highly qualified HR experts. You can call for clear, easy to follow advice on a wide range of HR matters. If your organization is using the branch structure to separate and manage employees, you may have been given access to certain branches that you're eligible to view. If you've been given access to multiple branches, you can navigate between them by using the branch navigator just here and choosing the one that you're wanting to access. You can also move through the branches in this way as well. And if you want to move to your top level branch, you just come back and click on that first one. In the top right over here, you'll see a menu drop down with your name. Under here, you can access your own view of employee self-service so that you only need one username and password to access HRA Cloud. If this isn't available to you yet, contact your administrator so they can get it set up for you. Depending on your user access permissions, you may be able to see the settings and the account settings beneath this. This section gives you access to all of the administrative settings for your HRA Cloud account. The actions will provide you access to all of our features that can be done in bulk, such as importing various records or information into HRA Cloud, uploading documents, launching online performance reviews in bulk, and the action that you might want to use on an ongoing basis is the self-service messaging just here, and we'll come back to this a little later. You may have access to view the dashboards, and the Get Help option just here will direct you to our knowledge base that contains hundreds of articles to assist you with using HRA Cloud. Down the vertical menu on the left-hand side over here, you'll see the different modules that are available to you through HRA Cloud. These may differ depending on your organization's subscription or what access you've been provisioned. So you might be able to see employees, contractors, and volunteers. You may have access to the work health and safety module just here, or to reporting. If you think there's a module you should be able to access but you can't see it, please contact your administrator and ask for access, or contact our client support team. We're currently in the employee module, and across the middle here, you'll see we have 3 purple buttons. These are our workflows, and they are divided into 3 distinct stages of an employee life cycle. So we start with pre-employment, we move on to employee management whilst they're an employee in your organization, and then our termination workflow, which is in relation to offboarding. Within these workflows, they contain our checklists, which are designed to guide you through all of the HR processes you may need to manage your employees from start to finish. These checklists are drafted by FCB Workplace Law in Australia and Langton Hunter Butcher in New Zealand to ensure that you are following both a compliant and best practice process. All actions completed or documents created from within a checklist are automatically saved to the employee's record. We'll come back to the checklists a little later in the session. So jumping down to beneath the workflows, this area just here with all these tabs, this is your document management area. For each module, this will contain different tabs where you can locate a variety of information relevant to that module. The name of each tab will indicate the type of information it contains. And in the Employee Management module, you'll be able to locate your employee records under the Employees tab just here, and all of their associated documents. Under Library and Awards, just here, you can access a range of employment law resources, including templates, guides, and forms that the system comes pre-populated with. The Generals Doc tab should have been populated during your account setup. The mobile phone icon on it, just here, indicates that documents uploaded to this tab can be visible to employees via ESS, but it will be dependent on the document type, which you can see in this column just here, and also the status of the document, which you can see just here. If a document has been uploaded and saved as a document type that isn't visible in Employee Self-Service, the document will only be visible to users through the management side of HRA Cloud. If the status isn't one of complete or created, again, it will not be visible through ESS. Moving across to the Policies tab just here, and this should have also been populated during your account setup. You'll be able to locate your company's policies under this tab, and your employees can access them from their ESS account. There are tabs within here to manage approvals, tasks, self-service approvals, and alerts, and we'll come back to these a little bit later on. There are various search options available to you throughout HRA Cloud, and they enable you to search for particular records or documents depending on the tab you're on. They also enable you to do things such as filter by branch and whether or not it's a current record if you're looking for an employee. You can use these filters to update your list without having to search for something in particular. Just choose your applicable filter, click search, and it will refresh that list for you. Please note that when you search, you will only be able to see employees and documents that you have been given access to. So now that we've covered the navigation of your main home screen, let's go into the employee record and see what you can do within here. Within an employee record, you'll see that there are a number of tabs to help organize the information stored about employees. You may see a slightly different list of tabs available based on integrations, customization, or the access that you have been provisioned. Under the Details tab, which is the first tab just here, you can expect to find employees' personal, emergency contact, and also their job details down at the bottom just here. You can update any details as required by clicking on Edit, making the necessary changes, and then saving that file. Employees will also be able to access their own personal details and update them from ESS, which you'll see towards the end of this session. If you need to set up or amend where someone sits on the org chart, you can do that here under the Org Chart tab. Simply select Move, change who they report to, and select the person you want them to report to. If it's someone within a different branch, just remove those options there, click on Search, and you'll get the full list of employees that you can see. Over on the right of the employee file, on the Employee Details tab just here, you'll see that there's a section called More Actions, and there's some different options under here. The most important items under this section that don't appear anywhere else in the system are Transfer and Merge. If you are using branches to organize your account, you may at times need to transfer an employee record between branches, and you have a few different options to choose from. So if you click on Transfer, you'll see there's 3 options, depending on whether you need an audit trail to indicate the branch they were previously in or not. This will depend on the circumstances around why you're transferring the employee file, but select the one that's most applicable for your circumstances. Under Merge, just here, this will enable you to merge 2 employee records together if you've somehow ended up with a duplicate employee record. It will also enable you to merge a candidate file into an employee file if a new record was created rather than converting a candidate into an employee. Scrolling up and moving across to the Documents tab just here. Under the Documents tab, you can store all relevant HR documents related to the employee. Documents that you generate through HRA Cloud, either through one of the checklists or directly on an employee record, will automatically be saved to this tab. Any documents uploaded through tasks or through the training and qualifications functionality will also automatically get saved to the Employees Documents tab. For documents that haven't been generated through HRA Cloud, you can also upload them to this tab so that they can be accessed by management or the employee themselves through ESS. If you have a lot of documents to upload, like during your setup phase, you'll probably want to utilize one of our bulk upload options, which sits under the Actions button just up here, and you'll want to use bulk upload. On an ongoing basis, you'll probably only have a few documents to upload at a time, and you can do this on an individual basis by clicking on Upload a New Document on that employee's record. When uploading a new document, you do have the option to create a link if you want to, but in this instance, we're going to upload a file. If you choose the file name first, it will pre-populate the title of that document for you. You can then amend and edit the title as required. You will need to choose the document type for the document that you're uploading, and this is important for a couple of reasons. The document type may impact who can view the document, including the employee, through their self-service portal, and you may want to be able to report on particular document types in the future. Within our knowledge base, you can view an article that lists the different document types that are visible to employees through ESS, but the default document type when uploading a document will always be other document, as you can see just here. This document type is not visible to employees through ESS, so by default, if you don't change the document type, your employees will not be able to see that document through ESS. We also have two generic document types that you can use for documents that you're not sure how to categorize them. Down at the bottom, we have ESS Doc and also ESS Form. In this instance, I'm going to save this as a certificate. Depending on what the document is, you may want to include a version, a signature date, or an expiry date, and you can also set up any reminders in relation to that expiry date as well, if you want to. I'm going to click on Upload. This will bring you into the document information. Through here, you'll see some different action items, such as assign an ESS task, where you can assign a task to yourself, to the employee in self-service, or for action by another management user in the system. If I go back to the document information, under this details section just here, it outlines the details or the properties for the document, and you can make any edits as required. If in future you need to upload a new version of the document, if I scroll back up, you can see just here there's an option to upload a new version. If you do this, it means that you'll see all previous versions down at the bottom of the screen under versions just here. However, if the document type allows the employee to view the document through self-service, they'll only be able to view the current version, not the previous versions that you show just here. If we go back to the employee's file by clicking on the blue hyperlink of their name, you can see that document has now been uploaded. If you want to access the document details for documents that are already uploaded, simply click on the name of the document, and it will bring you into that document information section. Again, we just click on the name to bring us back to their employee file. So now that that document has been uploaded, the document type, which is this column just here, and that status is what controls whether the employee can see it through ESS. Now, a document will have a status of draft, like these ones just down here, if you have set it to that through the details on the document, or if you've only partially created it through one of our checklists or directly from the Create a New Document button. In regards to the Create a New Document functionality, which you'll see just here, there are a lot of documents included in the templates that form part of a bigger HR process that you'll need to action. For example, a letter in relation to poor performance. For these documents, we would recommend creating them through the relevant checklist within HRA Cloud, such as the Counselling for Poor Performance checklist, rather than creating the document directly on the employee's file using this option. This ensures that all applicable process steps are also covered to assist with compliance, as well as creating the document required. If the document you are wanting to create doesn't have a wider process and an applicable checklist within HRA Cloud, you can create the document using this button and it will save it directly to the employee's file. If I show you the letters that are available, you just simply go to Letter, click on Next, and then it will show you all of the different letters that are pre-built into the system that you can create. Again, I can just click on the employee's name to navigate back to their file. Moving across to the Notes tab just here. This tab provides you with a few different types of functionality that you can utilize. The tab stores important details, such as work-related changes, messages sent to the employee via the system, and reminders and observations regarding the employee's performance. HRA Cloud will time and date stamp certain actions within HRA Cloud and save them to this Notes tab. For example, when an employee acknowledges a message they've received in employee self-service. You can also generate tasks to be completed from a note, including requesting the employee uploads a document or information through their self-service portal. So to record a note yourself against their employee record, you're going to click on Add Note. If you wish to categorize the note to assist with reporting, you can update that contact type and also the topic just here. If you choose to mark the note as sensitive using this tick box, only you or admin users of HRA Cloud with a particular permission will be able to view that note. If you choose to mark the note so it is included in a performance review, it will appear as a note at the start of the appraiser's review for the employee, provided the date falls into the relevant review period. If the note concerns another employee, you can select that employee here and link to their record if required. For a simple note that you're wanting to save onto their file, you will save that note as closed, and it will only be visible on the management side of HRA Cloud. The employee will not be able to see it. You can also use notes to set up reminders or recurring alerts using this option just down here. If you want to turn a note into a task, at this next step, you would alter that and you can choose whether to assign the task to yourself, to the employee in self-service, or to another management user within HRA Cloud. When you use this option, the details of the note will be visible to whoever you assign it to, whether that's to another manager or to the employee themselves. You can use this functionality to request that that employee attaches a document to the task that you create. Under Training, the Training tab records information about training and qualifications for the employee. Prior to using this functionality on employee records, a competency library will need to be set up on your account through the Training and Qualifications Administration, which you can either access here or under Settings, just up here. We cover how to do this in our account setup, getting you up and running session. In creating your competency library, we do encourage you to think as widely as you can in regards to what you might want to track on your employees' records. If you don't have access to that administration side, you may need to ask your account admin to add the competency that you require to your library or request the appropriate user access role so you can do it yourself. On an employee's record, you can either add an individual competency using this option just here, or you can assign a role. If you assign a role, it will assign all competencies that are associated with that role. If any are already on their file, it will fill the details in. For all other ones, it will enter them with the status of missing. You can then update the details of a competency by clicking on Update. Through here, you can update the details to indicate whether it's completed, the date that it was completed, and also when it expires. And submit that. If you want to, you can also either upload a document at this point, or if you have already got the document sitting on the employee's file, you can attach document. It will bring up their different documents. You select that document and hit submit, and you'll see here that it just links those two together. If you are wanting to upload a document specifically to that record, click on Update, upload the document, and through there you can select a file and upload it as required. With any competencies, if you put in an expiry date for that competency, the system will automatically trigger an alert to anyone who is subscribed to the training and qualifications alerts 3 months, 1 month prior, and on the day of expiry of that particular competency. Once set up and populated for your organization, the training and qualifications functionality works really well to assist you with managing any obligations and keeping up-to-date records for your employees. Now, I'm just going to touch on one of our reports that this feeds into. So if you navigate to reporting, if you have access to it, and under training management, you'll find our record versus competencies matrix. Choose the record type of employee and select Generate. This report will show you all of your employees down the left-hand side here, all of your competencies across the top, and it will give you a fantastic snapshot as to the current status across your organization of whether competencies are completed, missing. If I come down further, you'll see some that are in progress, expired, and they can also be marked as not applicable on employee records as well. As well as managers being able to update employee documents and information in relation to training, employees can also update them themselves through their ESS portal. Within HRA Cloud, we have functionality to assist you with managing your employees' professional development. There are 2 features that you can utilize. You can record objectives and development goals, and you can also run an online performance review process. These 2 features can be used hand in hand or standalone. The Performance Reviews tab that I'm on just now will contain information about any performance reviews that have been conducted with the employee through our online performance functionality. Similar to training and qualifications, this functionality may require some additional setup before you can utilize it on an employee record. Once set up, you can manage group assignments of key result areas, or you can apply individual key result areas to an employee record. This is the second part of the process with online performance reviews, and there is also a third part of the process, whether the online performance reviews are launched from a checklist, either individually or in bulk. We do have some specific training resources on OPR, so we won't go into it any further in this session, as we also do cover it, an overview of it, in one of our previous sessions. Objectives and development. So this tab stores an employee's short and long-term personal and professional objectives. These can be identified during a performance review period, or at any stage during the employee's life cycle at your business. Employee objectives can be created and managed by managers or by the employee themselves through their self-service portal. Any strategic or operational objectives that are added and fall in line with the dates of a performance review will be included in the performance review if you use that functionality. So as a manager, in here, you can click on Add Objective and populate the necessary fields. First of all, you choose whether it's personal, operational, or strategic. The first few fields are mandatory, as indicated by the star, and then the rest of the steps are optional for you to be able to fill in. You may want to use an importer if you find that you have a lot of objectives to enter into HRA Cloud. And if you don't have account admin access, please do contact your account admin so they can assist you to complete the import, which can be found under Actions, Integrations, this option just here of the Excel spreadsheet, and you'll see there's an import competency option just here. Now, if I navigate back to my employees file, the checklist tab stores and gives you access to all checklists that have been launched for that employee at any stage during the employee's life cycle. The Alerts tab just here stores all alerts and reminders specifically relating to that employee that have been set up through HRA Cloud. So that concludes our overview of the employee file and the tabs and information available to you. Next, we're going to look at how you can communicate with your employees. There are a few different ways that you can communicate with your employees using HRA Cloud, depending on the circumstances around the communication, particularly if you're wanting to send something to the employee or receive something from them. By communicating directly from HRA Cloud, there will be a record of the communication saved on the employee's record. You can send messages to employees via self-service, either individually or in bulk. And to do this, you're going to go to Actions, Self-Service Messaging, and under here, you'll click on Create Message. If sending a bulk or group message, you can segment who you're sending that message to by branch. So you can select the different branches that you want to send that message to, and then select the type of record you're wanting to send it to. If you're wanting to send that message to individual users, you can select those users here, but you wouldn't use this method if the information that you're going to send contains personal information, as you would do that from their employee file, and we'll cover that off shortly. So going back, I'm going to select all branches and select my employees. You then select a subject for the message, write your message body, and format that as required. You can include photos, videos, and also links, and use those formatting tools as needed. For self-service messages, you do have the option to send it as a message that requires acknowledgement by ticking this box just down here. By ticking this box, there'll be a note automatically recorded to the employee's file of the message that was sent, as with all messages that are sent from this messaging functionality. And then there will be a note recorded to time and date stamp the employee's acknowledgement of that message. This is particularly useful when sending out documents such as new company policies, as you'll automatically get a record of the employee's acknowledgement of that policy. If you don't tick this option, the employee will be able to dismiss this message, and HRA Cloud will only record the delivery of the message to the employee, not when they've read it. You can also set an expiry date just here for how long that message will be visible in ESS. And if we scroll back up to the top, if we click on Attach Documents just here, we can then attach any associated documents that we need to for that message. You can choose from documents that have been uploaded to your General Docs or Policies tab, or from within the Work Health and Safety module. You can sort by clicking on any of the blue links just here. So if you've just updated it, you can click on that one just there, or just enter it into the search bar and click Search. In ESS, the message will appear on the employee's notice board and also in their ESS inbox for them to action if you'd selected that option to acknowledge the message. Using this type of communication, the employee will be able to read any documents you send to them and confirm they acknowledge the message and/or documents. In the management portal, you can see that the current messages tab just here shows all active messages within the account, and they will be active within an employee's self-service portal until they either acknowledge or dismiss that message. You can click into any of the messages and make any edits if required. There is also a tab just here called Expired Messages, where you can access all expired messages. And if you need to, again, you can click on the name of a document, scroll down and update that expiry date if you need it to be visible for longer. Now, if you want to email an employee from HRA Cloud, you're going to navigate to the employee's file. And there are two ways that you can do this from the employee's file. Over under the More Actions section just here, you'll see Send an Email, or you can navigate to the Employee's Notes tab, and under here you will also see the option to email employee. Now, what we do say in relation to emailing an employee rather than sending them one of our ESS messages is please do be mindful that you're taking that subsequent communication out of HRA Cloud, as it will then be in your emails. And if applicable, you'll need to upload any conversations or documents that are sent through in those emails back into HRA Cloud. There's also the option here to send invitation. And again, where possible, we do recommend that you do it from your normal way of sending invitations to an employee, as this sends an iCal attachment. It means that by sending it from here, there will be a record on their employee file that you have sent that invitation to them, but your employee might not be expecting to receive it in that way. So we've briefly covered how you can communicate with employees using tasks already, but I'm just going to show you that again in the context of showing you different ways to communicate with employees. On this Notes tab, we can create that note and assign a task to the employee via self-service just here. In doing so, they'll receive an email alert and also a task in their ESS inbox. And if you want them to be able to upload a document to send to you, this is the communication method that you'll need to use, as you have the option to allow them to upload a document just here. If you want to send a document to an employee, this is what you can do directly from the document on their Documents tab. Navigate to the document that you're wanting to send to them, click on the name of the document, and under here, we can assign an ESS task. If you choose to assign it to them in self-service, the employee will receive this as a task in their inbox with your instructions and will be asked if they've read the document. They will be able to reply to the task with any comments and the agreement that they have read that document. Okay, so we've now seen a few different examples of how tasks and actions can be assigned to employees or to you as a manager. So let's take a look at how you can manage those through HRA Cloud. You can find items that you need to action as a manager, as I mentioned earlier, under Approvals, Tasks, Self-Service Approvals, or Alerts, and it will be dependent on your user access settings or what you have been subscribed to. If I click on Tasks just here, under Tasks, you'll find a list of the tasks that have been assigned to you. They're usually created when adding a note against an employee or candidate record, or it can be when sending a document. Tasks can also be created at various points throughout the process of completing a checklist. Users can create a task to serve as a reminder for themselves, or can assign a task to another user for action. Click on the title of the task, and it will open up some different options to you, where you can then choose the most appropriate one, depending on what you're needing to do with that task. If that task has been completed, you'll be able to complete that task and close it out. Under self-service approvals, just here, this will provide you with any update requests that employees via the self-service portal send through, as some information updated by them will need to be approved by the manager before being finalized in the system. You can approve or reject requests in bulk by clicking this option here and clicking approve or reject, or you can do it individually by clicking on the name of that particular approval, approve, or enter your comment and reject it. To be notified of alerts, which this is this next tab along, you need to be subscribed to alerts and have an email address saved against your user profile. This should have been done when your user was created, but you can check and adjust your subscriptions without needing to speak to your administrator by navigating to this tab and clicking on Update Subscriptions just here. You'll then be able to see all of the alerts that you are subscribed to and update them according to your preferences. Do be mindful that you will only see alerts for any records that you have permission to see. Under the Approvals tab, just here, this is one that not many of you will have access to see, but this is in relation to any approval requests that go through in checklists, such as our approval to recruit checklist or our employee induction checklist. You do need a particular user admin role to be able to receive and then action those approvals. So next, I'm going to show you how to utilize the employment law documents that are built into HRA Cloud. HRA Cloud has a wide range of employment law document templates designed to support you through all stages of the employee lifecycle. From letters of offer to new employees and warning letters for underperforming, to termination letters for unsuccessful probations or employees who resign. The recommended way to create these documents is via checklists, as this way you'll know that you're using the right template at the right stage in the HR process. While working through any HR checklist, remember that you can call to seek advice from the telephone advisory service to assist you in the process. You can record the notes of the call and the advice you received in the process of working through that checklist. Our workflows and checklists have been designed to take you through the full employee life cycle. Different people within your organization may have different responsibilities in terms of which checklists they'll be using, or even which parts of checklists they will complete. And this will come down to each individual organization to define what's relevant to them. Some organizations will have configured our standard checklists so that they're more relevant to your own specific processes. In pre-employment, just here, so our pre-employment workflow, we start with the ability to request a new position within your organization. We have a checklist to guide you through the interview and shortlist process, and then also the pre-employment process. This checklist is what your organization will most likely use to send an offer to a candidate, create their employment agreement, and request all pre-employment documentation prior to the candidate coming on board. When you click on the plus symbol, just here, you get the option to either initiate or resume a checklist. Most of the time, you're going to be initiating a checklist. You're then able to select whether it's a candidate or an employee that you are creating that checklist for and open it up. With our checklists, you're going to work through them, completing each step as you go, using these action buttons down the right-hand side. If you need any information about a step, you'll see that there's information bubbles that you can click on for more information. Some steps will be compulsory and will prevent you from going any further until those steps have been completed. So as you can see just here, I can't go any further in this checklist until I answer this particular question. I need to answer a second question to then be able to go down further. In some of the checklists, there will be a step where you're asked to contact your HR advisor before going any further. So call through to our telephone advisory team and they'll be able to jump into your system and check whether they need to provide any advice to you before you proceed. Now, as previously mentioned in this video, where possible, we recommend creating documents from our legal templates as part of a checklist to ensure you've carried out all necessary actions and everything is documented. So what you'll see at the relevant step of the checklist is the option to create, and you'll then choose to create a new document. You'll then go through, after selecting the template, a question and answer process where you'll be asked different questions that you need to supply the answers to, and this will tailor that template document to align with the details of the employee and their unique circumstances. I'm not going to go through the full document creation process within this, but when you get to the end of the document that you're creating, you can review those questions and answers and amend them as required by clicking Edit on any of the answers. You can preview the document you've created, and then you'd click Next if you're happy with it. That saves it as a PDF and automatically saves it to the candidate or employee's file, and you'll then need to resume the checklist. Now, if you don't have all of the relevant details to finish in creating the document, you can go back into the checklist or into the employee file at any point by clicking on the name. The document that you have started will now be shown as a draft document just here. And if I go to the employee's file, or candidate's file in this instance, I'll also see that that document has been started and it's currently sitting in a status of draft, so I can go back in and make any amendments to complete it. If I navigate to the candidate's checklist tab just here, I can also see that most recent checklist that I was in and click on it to go back into it. Now, for any of the guides or forms that are used within the checklists indicated by these blue links just here, you will also be able to access them from the Library and Awards tab under your document management area if you're needing to use them outside of this checklist. If you're a manager in your organization, you may not be required to complete any checklists under this pre-employment workflow, and it might be the checklists under employee management that are more relevant to you. Underneath this workflow, you can see we have checklists to assist with conducting an employee induction, just here, creating an employment agreement, counselling for poor performance, misconduct. We have our performance review checklists in here, which is the third part of that online performance review process. And we also have one for grievance or complaint investigation. Under our termination workflow, just here, you will find different checklists to help you manage the different scenarios for terminating employees. All of our checklists work in the same way. They guide you through the process you need to complete, assist you with creating documentation, and recording all steps that you're taking along the way. So next in this session, we're going to have a look at employee self-service in terms of what they can see and what they can do first. Your view of ESS will be the same for you as it is for all employees in your organization, as you're also an employee. As a manager or account admin, you should be able to switch to your ESS view up in the top right, just here, by clicking on Switch to Employee View. Now, the content within ESS can differ per employee, depending on what the employee has access to. The main difference will be their personal information and documents, and then anything assigned to a particular branch that they sit within. So what they'll first see when they first log in is the notice board. The notice board will show any ESS messages that have been sent out from your organization from the management side of HRA Cloud. These messages could have been sent to a team, particular branches, or employees could have been selected individually. There are two options on a notice board message, depending on what was selected on that message that was sent. The employee will either tick that they have acknowledged, I have read this message, which is that acknowledgement, confirming that they've viewed any documents, and you can see that the document is just here, or they'll simply select to dismiss that particular message. If I move across to the inbox just here, The inbox will display any tasks that have been assigned to the person looking at their inbox. These could be from a checklist, such as the pre-employment or induction checklist, or from a task sent from a note on an employee file. It could be in relation to completing a performance review, or it could be in relation to updating information about competencies. Click on any of the tasks in the inbox, and you'll be provided with instructions of what's needed for that tasks. You can also see any previous tasks under the archived option, just here. Under the Me tab, just here, this is where the employee will find all the information that specifically relates to them. The Details tab, just here, contains the employee's personal details. Most personal details can be updated by the employee, and they'll then need approving on the management side before they can take effect. Going back to Me and navigating down to Training and Qualifications, this tab will show any competencies that's been assigned to the employee from the management portal or that the employee has added to their own record through ESS. The employee can update and make any amendments and attach new documents when required through here. And the employee can also add any competencies from the library that's been created on your account by selecting Add Competency just down here. And there are all of the available competencies for this particular account. Under My Documents, just here, the tab will show any of the documents that are stored on the employee's file that has an applicable ESS document type. My Performance Reviews. This is where an employee can access any current performance reviews that they need to complete, and they can also see any previous ones that they've done as well. Under Objectives and Development, just here, an employee can see any objectives that have been set for them, and they can also add any objectives themselves through Add an Objective, just here. It enters the same information that can also be done on that management side. However, this one does need to be approved by management to then be applied to their record. This is a great tool for getting your employees involved in their own development. Under My Organization, just here, a manager will be able to access the Group Performance Review tab if they have got employees that report to them that they need to conduct performance reviews for. All employees will be able to access the General Docs tab to see your company documents, as long as those documents have a current status and have been saved as an ESS applicable document type on that management side. Under the Policies tab, your employees will be able to access all company policies with ease. If you have work health and safety, employees will be able to access all of your work health and safety information under here. They will also be able to lodge hazards or risks or incidents. All they need to do is click on Add a New Incident Record just here. They simply enter the details for that incident. Down at the bottom, they can add a photo or a video if they want to, and that will come through to the management side for appropriate action to be taken. So that gives you an overview of what can be done from ESS. So let's jump back to that management side and discuss how you can give your employees access to ESS. So there's a couple of different ways that you can provide workers with access to ESS, depending on where you are on your journey and what you're needing them to do in ESS initially. When you're first setting up your account and launching ESS to your current employees, you'll most likely send them the registration link via email, and this is covered in the second of the setup training sessions. For ongoing use and new candidates or employees, you'll most likely provide access through a task in one of our checklists in your onboarding process. And this could be from the pre-employment documentation checklist, create an employment agreement, or the employee induction checklist. If a worker is assigned to a task from within one of our checklists that needs to be completed in ESS, HRA Cloud will automatically send the worker an email to register for their self-service access so they can then complete that task. The worker will need to have an email address saved on their profile for the system to be able to send them an email. We're now going to finish off today's session by taking a very quick look at work health and safety. I'm not going to go into this module in detail, but we're just going to have a look at the hazard and incident management. So incidents, hazards, and risks can be added by the employee through ESS, as I just showed you a moment ago, or from the management side by clicking on Add an Incident Record. If I click onto an incident record, you'll see that it looks quite similar to an employee record, but with some slightly different tabs. Details for the incident can be updated directly in here through the different tabs available. Under the Manage Safety tab, just here, we also have an incident management checklist that can be completed using the details that have been entered onto the incident record. You can see that there's also a hazard management checklist just here that can be completed. And there's also an injury management and return to work checklist that might be useful for you. So that completes our session for today. We do provide more of an overview of work health and safety in our Introduction to HRA Cloud session. If you need a recap of what we have covered in today's session, you can access our knowledge base where you will find specific articles to support each of our training sessions. We have a specific article in relation to empowering managers with HRA Cloud, and it will take you through all of those steps that we've covered. If you require any assistance in using your HRA Cloud account, our client support team are here and ready to help. The contact details are on the screen at the moment, along with the details for the telephone advisory team. Thank you for watching. I hope you have found this session helpful and that you feel ready to start utilizing HRA Cloud to make HR simple.